Hello and welcome to the Daily Dose. Have you noticed? I'm sort of smiling. Now, this is a bit unusual with the Daily Dose, isn't it? Which tends, well, because of the nature of the daily news, I suppose, to be a bit of a grump. My tendency towards public grumpiness, at any rate, once led Lucy Worsley to call me, quite memorably actually, a cross owl. Now, I wasn't too insulted. After all, the owl is the bird of wisdom, the bird of Minerva. It's also, we forget, an extraordinarily good bird of prey. So, wisdom and bird of prey. And by the way, I came up with a nice revenge nickname for Lucy, whom I always call Loosely Wordy. Loosely Wordy. I think it's actually better than cross owl at any rate. It's 50-50. I'm forgetting the point. This is a daily dose which is about something good, cheerful. Even more surprisingly, it's about something good and cheerful which comes from a university. Actually, believe it or not, for what had been the hotbed of wokedom, Cambridge, which is now, the Vice-Chancellor is on the way out, thank heavens, beginning to recover its common sense. It's even, at least some colleges are, recovering flair. Or another word, flag. I don't mean flagging, I mean literally a flag. Because what I'm going to be talking about in this daily dose is the decision of one of the oldest colleges. I think it's the actually fourth oldest college in the university, Gonville and Caius College, confusingly spelt C-A-I-U-S, but pronounced Caius College. He was the doctor, the private personal physician to Queen Elizabeth I, and made an accustomed packet out of it. Anyway, Caius College has taken a remarkable decision. It has decided, listen to it, it will only fly the college flag. Nothing else, just the college flag. Now, why on earth am I getting excited about that? Well, flags, of course, are a very important and very contentious, often very contentious form of symbolism. There's even a special name for them. It's called vexillology. Let me get this right. Vexillology. Isn't that wonderful? Vexillology. Vexillum. Vexillum. Let's really start all that again. Vexillum is the Latin for a particular kind of standard that was carried by one of the legions, and vexillology it's an American coinage, really. It is the study of flags. Flags, in that sense, well, they're pretty modern. I suppose the first genuinely created flag, in our modern sense of the term, is the good old Union Jack, designed to represent something which wasn't actually formally a state. In other words, the union of the crowns between England and Scotland, invented by James VI of Scotland and James I of England. Anyway, flag is a subcategory of a much bigger category which we call symbolism, in which usually a material object stands for an abstract idea. And the decision of Caius just to allow the flying of the college flag is in fact a symbolic rendering of that very complex series of ideas, well, not very complex, but pretty complex series of ideas that I discussed some time ago in the case of Kathleen Stock, the academic and the feminist academic driven out of the University of Sussex at Brighton because she rejected arguments about trans rights and so on, and insisted on the rights of biological women, dared in fact to argue the existence of biological women, and quite simply to deny very clearly the statement that a trans woman is a woman, get over it. She said simply, it is not true. It's not a matter of fact, for which I'm afraid, as facts in more progressive universities are no longer a defence, she effectively was sacked. She was forced to resign. She's, by the way, The story has a happy ending. She's found a very comfortable part-time berth in the new university. I don't mean birth in that sense of the word. I mean a B-E-R-T-H, berth, the new University of Austin in Texas, which is the new university with a very important role for people like Neil Ferguson. I mean the historian Neil Ferguson, not the science fraud Neil Ferguson. A very important role for Neil Ferguson, advocating genuine academic autonomy, academic freedom of speech, academic freedom of inquiry. And what the decision of Keyes only to fly the college flag is about is a symbolic rendering of that doctrine of academic freedom, which achieved its most eloquent and most precise formation now a long time ago, almost 50 years ago, at the University of Chicago, in a report called, I again discuss this in my comments on the Stock affair, called the Calvin Committee, from its chairman. Universities in America in the 50s had been under very, very heavy pressure from the McCarthyite right to exclude communists and so on. And by the time, of course, that the Calvin Committee reported in the late 60s, it was under equally radical pressure from the radical left of students and some staff and so on. So the universities had been very thoroughly battered in both directions, and the Chicago principles were designed as a rock to anchor academic freedom on utterly principles, on utterly fundamental principles. And the central principle is this. I think again I read this passage in my David Starkey Talks on Kathleen Stock, but I'll read it again. By design and effect, the university is the institution which creates discontent with existing social arrangements and proposes new ones. In brief, this wonderful sentence next, a good university, like Socrates, will be upsetting. Exactly what the left always say, it should be radical, radical, radical. But listen to how cleverly the argument turns at this point. However, the instrument of dissent and criticism is the individual faculty member or the individual student. The university is the home and the sponsor of critics. It is not itself a critic. It is neutral. It is the boxing ring, maybe the referee. It is not the boxer. Neither of them or all of them, if it's tag wrestling or tag boxing. Is there such a thing as tag boxing? Anyway, this is the point. The Keyes decision is the symbolic version of that, because what the fellows of Keyes resolved was that the college, not the university, the college would only fly the college flag, because being members of Keyans is the only thing they all had in common. In other words, it will not fly the Black Lives Matter symbol, the clenched fist. It will not fly the multicoloured stripe of pride to the absolute fury of the local LGBTQXYZ or whatever it is representative in the college, because those are sectarian positions. But it did something very remarkable. It said, we will only fly the college flag as a college, but we will remove any restriction on any student or any member of faculty or anybody else in the college exhibiting whatever symbol they want in their own window. So if there are lots of students there who want to put up BLM posters, if they can put up BLM posters. If there are lots of students there who want to put up rainbow flags, rainbow symbols, others for the NHS, whatever, let them put them up. Let 1,000 flowers bloom, but bloom individually. Collectively, we are simply, the college is saying, we are simply a college. We are simply a sponsor of critics of different views. Our union is purely as an institution. It's extraordinary, isn't it? You take, this is how symbolism works. You take the symbolism of flag and flags, and you use it to express that quite complex idea of the Calvin report. The Calvin report that a university is this college, is this community of scholars, each one of which should be pursuing extraordinarily different, conflicting lines of enquiry, conflicting with each other as much as with the surrounding society. But they are a community held together by that bond of belonging, the case of the Calvin Commission, to the great University of Chicago, the great Research University of Chicago, in the case of Caius, to that remarkable college with its history of 600 years, its extraordinary buildings created to reflect the Renaissance ideals of the relationship of gentility, of education, of virtue, of progress. Again, the whole of Caius, the whole architecture of Caius, with a series of courts and triumphal arches, represents a symbolism applied to the process of education. Now that's Dr. Caius. Now this same college has taken the idea of a single flag, which is the community, the communal, collegiate, the college flag, symbolising the college, and that will be the only flag that's flown, whereas each individual member of the college can express his, her, home, their, whatever pronouns presumably you want, their own affiliations in as many different ways as they want. As I said, it made me smile. Hello, and thank you for watching David Starkey Talks. If, as I very much hope, you're enjoying them, why not become more actively involved and join my members club? As a member, you'll be able to take part in the members-only weekly question and answer session, suggest topics for forthcoming videos, and have priority booking for my forthcoming live events. And while you're at it, why not have a look at the store page on my website, davidstarkey.com. There you can purchase t-shirts and other merchandise, buy signed copies of my books, and, if you're feeling brave and a bit flush, even arrange to take me out to lunch. Thank you once again for watching. I look forward to hearing from you and to welcoming you to my members club.